I'm out in the Pillar Valley in New South Wales with Bailey Crawford, a fencing contractor from Alstonville. Bailey, how you going, mate?
Good, Tim, yourself?
Now you're putting in a lovely straight concrete post fence.
Yeah.
And you got a few tips about what not to do and a few tips about what to do when you're driving concrete posts.
Yeah.
Bailey, we're in concrete post country really, aren't we? Because they don't rot and they don't get termites and they're fairly fire resistant.
Yeah.
So you guys around here use a lot of these things, don't you?
Do now, yeah. Timber's sort of fading away.
It's getting hard to get. The timber that you get's not as good as it used to be, is it?
Nah.
So if someone's starting out using concrete posts and they're worried about the weight of them, what are some tips with running out your posts, mate?
Need a machine for sure. Yeah, we use the forks and just lay them out. They're not too heavy, but then you can sort of stand them up off the forks, you know what I mean? Or worst case, use a chain or sling and lift it up and get it to where you need.
And when you're dropping these down on the ground, is there a specific side that you like to drop them on?
So the skinny side hits the ground, not the wide side. They've got more support.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So aim the skinny side on the ground.
Yeah.
And I also noticed you've got the rounded. They've got an edged corner and they've got a rounded corner. You've got the rounded corner towards where the traffic area is.
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah. Driveway, so nice smooth side. Not that it's much difference, but yeah, just a bit nicer on the front.
Now, concrete post end assemblies, Bailey, there's a few issues with them as well. There's a few don'ts.
Yep, exactly right, there is.
The first being stay height, mate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be putting it between the first and the second. The second and the third sort of would be your best bet.
Because I suppose the further down the post the stay is, the less upward force on the post, isn't there?
That's correct.
It's not going to jack out of the ground nearly as easy.
No, that's it.
So you reckon a common mistake people make is putting their stays too high?
Straight away, yeah.
And you've also got another tip about your bracket. You don't do it up too early.
No, I don't do it up until the rail's all the way hitting the post.
So you actually start putting tension on your bottom stay cable before you do that up.
Yeah, by hand I do it up by hand, and then tighten that with the rattle gun.
Because no matter how good the bracket is, it can let go and it can move over time, can't it? So you make sure that your rail's firmly butted in.
Yeah, because if it's not there, well, that's 10 mil that the post can move, I suppose.
And when we're dealing with concrete posts, you always use a stay bracket. You'd never do without it.
Yeah, always, yeah. If that rail got bumped or whatever and you didn't have it, well, it just falls off on the floor.
And there are examples of that around, aren't there?
Yes,
Whereas
correct.
with the bracket, it's going to stay in place no matter what happens.
Yeah.
The other big don't is don't use one of those plates at the other end that can't move. You always make sure that your plate at the other end can move.
Yeah, well, it's got a flat bottom. It can be moved sideways if it got bumped, or if the post got bumped, you can fix it and redo it back up.
So you can just repair it with a shifter rather than having to come out and repair the whole fence.
That's it.
Now your next don't, Bailey, is even though concrete posts are really resilient and strong, your next don't is don't keep hammering them when they start bouncing.
Yeah.
Have a think about what's going on. Now what happened here? What did you have to do?
Well, we tried to drive it in and started to bounce, and obviously if it's bouncing, it's not going to go.
Yep.
You keep going, you will break it.
You're looking for disaster.
So we pulled it out quickly and pilot hole drilled it and then put it in. And job done.
So you don't dig a pilot hole for every concrete post?
No, not at all.
You mainly just drive them straight in?
I drive them all in unless you have an issue.
But if it starts to bounce?
Yeah, you've got
pilot
an issue,
hole.
yeah.
Now also when you're driving these posts in, you don't bring the dolly up too high, or if you're using a percussion driver, you don't have the power turned up too high. You just ease them into the hole?
Yes, correct. Just gently until you know what you're dealing with, because you don't know what's in the ground.
So they're a bit like a steel post. They don't need great walloping force to drive them in. They drive in fairly easy by themselves.
They'll go in easy if you just work your way, tap, and then before you know it, they'll be in.
And another big don't is don't drive steel on steel. You always use a driving cap.
Yep.
And that's got rubber in it. You've got a tip about the rubber as well.
Make sure that it doesn't wear out. They'll wear out after time. And if the steel touches the steel on the driver, they will shatter.
A piece of rubber is a lot cheaper than replacing a post, isn't it?
That's it.
Good having a red cap on the top of the post, because red is danger, don't touch.
That's it.
Keeps your hand away from the top of the post, mate.
Keep your hand away.
Now, Bailey, using concrete posts with electric fencing, you've got another big don't for us as well.
Don't run the hot wires through your post with barbed wire. it's illegal.
Yeah, righto. So you've got 150 mil standoff coming off the barbed wire here to
Each
make
side
your
of the
fence
post,
nice and legal, haven't you? I suppose another problem with running your wires through the post is when you put poly in there, ants are going to get in it, aren't they? And they're going to short out the fence anyway.
I suppose, yeah. And that's off the fence. Cattle can still push on your posts. They're not going to touch that post.
So those posts are never going to move, are they?
Nah. Plus, people are more aware that it's electric if it's like that, I suppose.
Yeah, so you're much less likely to get angry neighbours, I suppose, aren't you?
That's it.
And you're pumping plenty of energy through this. You've got a 6,000 I on this with high conductive lead-out wire, so there's a fair whack to it.
Yeah. Grab hold of it, you'll find out.
No, I'll pass, mate. All right, let's go to the next don't. Now the next don't, mate, is don't pull too many wires through the fence at once. You've got this set up here for pulling wires. Just explain to us what you do, mate.
We can pull either two or one at once, but I wouldn't pull the first and the second together, because as they go through they're slapping away and they'll catch.
So you spread them out. So what's your order of pulling wires through the post?
We pull the first and the third, and then the second and the fourth, and then the fifth on its own at the end.
Now you've got a swivel attachment on the end of your cables here, and that's what you use to tie off to the wire?
Yeah, we just simply pull this through the post with a bit of plain wire on the end, tie on, and that obviously, because the barbed wire likes to spin once it comes out of the roll.
And you've got this quick hitch set up attached at the moment to the bucket of your skid steer, but you can actually take this off and mount it directly to your post driver as well.
It goes on the side of the post driver as well, yeah.
Well, Bailey, thanks very much, mate. It's been good talking about the don'ts of fencing rather than the do's for once. It's been a lot of fun. And if you guys are after some really good contracting out Alstonville way in New South Wales, get on to Bailey from BC Rural Contracting.
Thanks, Tim.
Good on you, mate.
Appreciate it.
I wish I had the world to give you, baby. I don't even have